All righty. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Reality Church. We're so glad you joined us here this morning. And how many of you normally come at 9, but the clock's jumped ahead and you forgot to set them? Yeah, well, welcome. We're so glad you're here at the 10:30 service. There was hardly anyone at the 9 o'clock service this morning. I almost forgot to turn my clocks ahead as well. So anyway, glad we got that figured out, and I'll see you back in your normal spots next week, okay? All right, deal? Perfect. If you're a guest with us here this morning, I want to make sure that you feel welcome. We're so glad you're here. There's a little card in the chair in front of you, and if you wouldn't mind scanning that QR code and just let us know you're here, and I'd love a chance to meet you afterwards and just get to know you a little bit. We're in week 2 of a series we call Breathe. It's a focus on mental health. Pastor Keith will be bringing the message this morning, and so we're excited about that. We're excited about this whole series, so don't forget, come back the next 2 weeks as well as we finish out the series that we're doing now called Breathe. So we're going to start singing here in just a moment, but before we do that, I want to give you guys a quick update on Pivot. Some of you might not even know what Pivot is, but last May we started the Pivot Initiative, and it was for the purpose of building out an incredible space for you to bring your one more. We're going to serve great coffee. There's going to be a playground for the kids. It's going to be an inviting place where you can just relax and hang out with friends. And so we estimated the entire project to be around $350,000 to $400,000. But we also broke it down into phases, and we're like, hey, if we can get to $250,000, we can start phase 1, which is all the fun stuff, like heating and air conditioning and plumbing and electrical and walls and all that kind of stuff. And so just so you know, 10 months later, I'm excited to tell you we're at $259,417. Yeah. Now, the only thing is, if you have done any construction in the last year or two, or let's say 2 weeks ago you replaced your heating and air when you should have did it 2 years ago when it first started going out, you know how much construction costs have gone up, right? But we're still going to do everything that we can with the money that we have. We're hoping to get started by late spring or early summer. Yeah, okay, I'm looking at our contractor, and he shook his head. Tentatively, yes. And so maybe we should just negotiate a start date right now with all these witnesses. Anyway, but we're excited to get started on this. And if you guys want more information on it, please go to reality.church/pivot. Maybe this is the first time you've heard about it, and you're like, man, I'd love to donate $583 so they'd have exactly $260,000 because Roger likes even numbers, okay? So you can do that as well. But go to Pivot, reality.church/pivot, and you can find out all about the project. And guys, we'd love to have you be a part of this incredible outreach to our community. So, guys, thanks again for joining us here this morning. If you wouldn't mind standing and singing with us.
Good morning, guys. Let's sing and worship the Lord this morning.
Built with hands. Temples built with hands, laid with precious stones. But all along you wanted to make us your treasure. Mansions made of men and touch the sky from earth. But still your house of choice was broken vessels made of dirt. So break my heart. Mine is yours. see I made room for you and me. Never leave, oh Jesus, stay with me. Come on in, take a seat. I made room for you and me. Never leave, oh Jesus, stay with me. Come on in, take a seat. I made room for you and me. Never leave, oh Jesus, stay with me. Come on in, take a seat. I made room for you and me. Never leave, oh Jesus, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me, oh Jesus, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Make my heart your home.
Make my heart your home. Ooh, all that's mine is yours. Ooh, so make my heart your home. Ooh, all my life is yours. Ooh. Whom I with the highest key I was lost, but He brought me in. Oh, His love for me. Oh, His love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, He has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of
with the culmination of the songs that we're singing this morning, just the last song, we are who God says that we are. And then the first song we sang, we were asking God to make his home in our hearts. And it makes me think of this verse in Ephesians 3:17 through 19, which says, "Then Christ will make his home in your hearts as you trust in him. Your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. And may you have the power to understand, as all God's people should, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep his love is. May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you will be made complete. Then you will be made complete with all the fullness of life and power that comes from God." And it's so incredible to think that there is a God who loves us so much that he would give up everything, that he would give up his life for us and die for us. And there is no greater love than that. And he loves you, and he sees you, and he knows you fully. In this next song, we are going to declare as one voice the love that God has for us. Let's sing this together.
Like a hurricane, I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how he loves us all. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us all.
There's nothing like your love. There's nothing like it. Let it be a soothing balm to our hearts, Lord, to our souls. Lord, that we would experience you, the fullness of your joy and your life and peace and love. God, thank you for who you are, and that your love stretches farther and wider and deeper than anything that we could ever imagine, and that you pursue us, Lord. Thank you. God, be with us. I pray that you would open our hearts and our minds to hear from you. Be with Pastor Keith as he brings your word this morning. God, thank you so much. We love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen. You guys can take a seat.
Good morning. I'm Keith, I'm one of the pastors here. Do you guys remember when time change was at a different time or a different time of the year? And it always seemed to land on Easter. So sunrise service was always so much more sunrisey. So, welcome to you here who are here on campus. Glad you're here this morning. To our visitors, we're glad you're here. To our barrier breakers who are here week after week, we're glad you're here. And to those of you who are here online, we welcome you this morning. I'm normally online typing to y'all, but you can see why I won't be there today. If you have questions during today's sermon, we love to answer questions at the end. Feel free to text them to 222-22333 or download our app, and you can actually ask a longer question there. This mental health series is called Breathe. Our previous mental health series were focused on darkness and the darkness that comes to us and how to deal with that. This mental health series is focused on the comfort of knowing God is with you. Life is tough, really tough. No matter how tough life gets, God is with us. So we're going to talk today about our deepest human need. That is to feel loved and accepted. Maybe you didn't know this, but it's one of the things you're chasing after, is the feeling of being loved and being accepted. We all have a deep need to feel loved. We all have a very deep need to feel accepted. Let's talk a little bit about the psychology of these needs. There are some basic needs we all have as human beings. I'll run you through the example when we talk about this. Think about other needs we have. For example, hunger. These needs can really be seen more like little personalities inside of us. When a need is being really needy, he kind of steps up to the front, or she steps up to the front and becomes the most important thing at the moment. And other needs are kind of in the background. So when a particular personality is needing to get met, or the need needs to be met for that, for example, hunger, let's say it's been 6 or 7 hours since you've eaten, all of a sudden you're starting to feel a little bit hungry. Your little hunger personality steps up to the front and says, okay, is that something to eat? If it is, or if it isn't, it says, ignore it. I'm worried about getting something to eat right now. I need to feed my human. So that's an obstacle. Anything that is not going to help you get your hunger met is an obstacle or a tool to get fed. So it looks at everything as either an obstacle or a tool. And my apologies, the slides ran off to the left a little bit today. So I have to focus on those a little harder. Now, these little personalities, when they step to the front, they say, hey, I need to get this need met. Looking for obstacles, I'm looking for tools. You can choose how you feed those things, right? So if it's the hunger guy, I don't know how many of you guys, when you get home, you might eat like a half a bag of chips while you're standing at the cabinet or staring in the fridge trying to figure out what you're going to cook for dinner, right? It's not exactly the healthiest way to get that need met. But, and there's healthy ways to get that need met. Actually, you know what, this time of year, it's probably more like a sleeve of Girl Scout Thin Mints while you're trying to figure out what to cook for dinner, right? Or you can get it met in healthy ways. I'm learning to enjoy a good salad with some grilled chicken on top of it, right? So there's healthy, non-healthy ways to meet those needs. And we're actually going to focus a little bit different spin on that today. And we're going to say there's godly and ungodly ways to get our needs met. Because, you see, we have these other two needs that we're talking about. It's the exact same thing with acceptance. When your acceptance personality comes to the front and says, I just don't feel accepted. I need to belong to something. I need someone to say you're okay the way you are. That little personality steps to the front and it looks to get met. And it looks for anything that's an obstacle, that ignores it. That's not going to help me. Anything that would help me get my need for acceptance met, it says, well, hey, that's a tool I can use. But so often we choose the wrong tools to get our needs met in the area of acceptance. Same thing with feeling loved. When you're feeling unloved, maybe you had an argument with your spouse or your kids, bad day at work, you're just feeling unloved. Your I need love personality comes to the front and says, what are we going to do about this? Looks around, don't see anything or see things that don't help us. Those are obstacles. When we see something that does help us, that's a tool, and we use that tool. Often we use the tool that's available rather than the tool that's healthy for us or the tool that's godly. So that's all of them together. When a man reaches his mid-30s, he has to make a choice. If you aren't 35 yet, you don't know about this. If you're over 35, you're with me. He's got to make a choice. Am I going to be an avid student of World War II history? Or am I going to be the best doggone backyard barbecue and grill master there's ever been? I chose both. On the right there is a picture of me and my twin brother Kevin. Yeah, there's two of me. Sorry about that. We're standing in a barbecue joint in Atlanta we're twins, and it had twin smoke pits. So we thought that was pretty cool. And actually right now, my smoker at home is going because we're going to have a pulled pork for dinner tonight. So excited about that. I cook for a lot, yeah. I tell you what, if you guys want some awesome barbecue that's better than anything in Omaha, you set up a time to come over to my house. Reach out to me. Okay. But let's focus on my World War II history buff side here a little bit. We're going to go through a couple stories that are going to help you understand more about this love and acceptance and how we try to get those met in the wrong ways and sometimes the right ways. So, World War II, I'm going to give you guys a little history lesson. I hear they don't teach all this history in school anymore, so I'm going to try and catch up a little bit. World War II, there was a guy named, shortly after Vladimir Lenin's October Revolution speech in 1917, he established a legal and practical framework for a series of camps for political prisoners and for just common criminals. And these were hard labor camps. These hard labor camps, these prisons, were called gulags. So if you hear me say gulag, think in your head a really oppressive prison for people who don't think the way you like them to think. Okay? And they were all over. It wasn't just like 3. They were all over the Soviet Union because anybody who didn't think right or act right got thrown in there as a political prisoner, but there was also a bunch of just regular criminals in there, thieves, murderers, you name it, in that prison. So, or gulag. At the same time, remember, in World War II, this was the time that Hitler was doing what he was doing and had his own camps where he was exterminating Jews. So just a heinous time in history. So let's look a little bit more specifically in World War II at a guy named Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Now, I'm saying that the American way. If you hear Lance say this when we were talking about this, he'd pronounce it the way the Russians do because he spent some time in Ukraine, so he knows how to pronounce it properly. But I'm going to go with the American way. Alexander Solzhenitsyn was a captain in the Soviet Red Army. He was raised in a Catholic family. Not a Catholic family, a Christian family. Now, something you need to know about being raised in a family, Christian family or any family, is there comes a time when each child has to determine what road they're going to take and what they're going to do to seek their acceptance in life. And when it came time for him to choose his own path, to get the acceptance that he wanted and needed, he chose atheism, and he became a staunch supporter of the Marxist-Leninist regime. You see, he was looking for love or acceptance in all the wrong places. At some point in his career in the Red Army, he wrote a private letter to a friend, and it just so happened to contain a little bit of criticism about Joseph Stalin. That letter was intercepted and read by the stalwarts in the Bolshevik Party. Captain Solzhenitsyn became prisoner Solzhenitsyn in the Soviet Gulag. He was sentenced to 8 years of hard labor for a couple paragraphs in a letter that he wrote, a private letter. He spent most of his time in the Gulag trying to answer one question. And it's not the one question you would think that somebody in prison would be trying to answer. You see, he was a political prisoner. The Gulag was full of both political prisoners and criminals. While the guards were in control of the prison, they needed some help from some of the prisoners. When they chose prisoners to help them run the prison, they didn't choose the political prisoners. They chose the criminals. They trusted the criminals over the political prisoners. No one respected the political prisoners in the Gulag. Not the guards, not the other criminals. You see, Solzhenitsyn knew what was going on with Hitler in Germany. He knew what was going on with Lenin and what Lenin's role was in imprisoning political prisoners. He knew what was going on with Marx and what Marx was doing to imprison political prisoners. He himself had been a part of the Bolshevik Party sending political prisoners to the Gulag. Yet here he was, a political prisoner of a system that he fully supported to the extent of being a Bolshevik and a military in the Red Army. What question was he asking himself? Lenin, Marxist, Hitler, he wasn't asking what they did. He was asking, what did I do personally to get myself in this situation? We need to think about that ourselves. We can look at our circumstances. We can say, that's the bad guy, that's the bad guy, that's the bad guy. That's not going to help us. Like Solzhenitsyn, we need to figure out what actions did I take that are contributing to the prison or the hell that I'm in. You see, over time, he figured out an answer to this. He supported the political ideas of the Bolshevik Party. And you can always tell when someone has an idea or when an idea has them. When an idea has someone, you can predict what they're going to say. Now, that happens today. You guys out there on Facebook, somebody starts talking about, I watch this news station, I watch that news station. You know what's coming next, and what's coming next, and what's coming next. This is nothing new, right? When you can predict what somebody's going to say because you know what that particular news channel is going to say about it, the idea has them. It isn't their idea, it's the tribe's idea. You see, he came to the conclusion that he had let an ideology have him. Belonging was more important to him. He found his belonging in taking up the ideas of a tribe. He didn't have politics, politics had him. And that political tribe turned on him. It imprisoned him. It wasn't until we got a new leader in Russia, and we're about to finish our World War II history lesson here, that leader was Khrushchev, and he brought about the Khrushchev thaw, that Solzhenitsyn was released and exonerated. After his release, he returned to the Christian faith of his childhood. He had been looking for acceptance in all the wrong places. He was chasing acceptance. When he stopped chasing acceptance, acceptance came and found him. Jesus, the deep acceptance that we all so desperately need and want, that little personality in us that's looking for acceptance, needs to stop chasing and let acceptance come and find us. We're going to change now to talk about the time when Jesus was walking the earth. At that time, people avoided this place called Samaria. Jews avoided this place called Samaria. If they had a choice of walking through Samaria or going around it, Jews would go around it. Even though it was a shorter walk through Samaria, Samaria was considered unclean. The Jews in Jerusalem, down here, believed that the only place to worship God was in their temple, on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Samaritans worshiped over here in their synagogues. They didn't go to the temple. The Samaritans were also a continuous source of difficulty for the Jews. Imagine that. A group of people so contentious with you that you choose to walk many miles around. The religion the Jews evolved to of the Samaritans evolved to a point where they held only the Pentateuch, Genesis, the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, as their Bible. They didn't accept the rest of the poetry and prophecy sections of the Old Testament like the Jews did and like we do now. And to get a little extra twist in there, Samaritans claimed that their copy of the Pentateuch was the original copy. The Jewish people didn't really care for that thought process. There's a lot of contention between the Jews and Samaritans, but the cultural rules of that time were also very strict. During the time Jesus was walking the earth, there's a huge stigma for divorced women and for adultery. Not only that, it was hard for a woman to survive if her husband had divorced or died. Men weren't allowed to talk to women at this time if they weren't their wife. And so finding yourself on the wrong side of these cultural stigmas would put you in a bad spot, and it added difficulty to everything they did in their daily life. This included doing chores, like getting water from the well. We're going to talk about the woman at the well today. She had to go get water from the well during the hottest part of the day, not because that's what people did at that time, but because nobody else would be there. Everybody else went during the cool of the day. As Jesus was ministering, he needed to get from Judea back to Galilee, and he chose to go through Samaria instead of around it. He stopped in a little town called Sychar. We Americans pronounce it Sychar, but it's more closely pronounced Suhar. And he met a woman at the well. This woman at the well that he met spent her entire life trying to answer a question she didn't even know she was asking. I'd say there's a lot of people here today who are trying to get a question answered that you don't even know you're asking. There's a little personality in you looking for something that you didn't know you were looking for. John 4, the story of Jesus and the Samaritan woman. Eventually he came to the Samaritan village of Suhar, near the field that Jacob gave his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well at noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." Now, realize that Jesus wasn't the only tired, worn-out person at that well. She was tired too, because she had to come during the heat of the day to get water. He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, well, because men don't talk to women that are not their wives, and Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You're a Jew and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Jesus replied, "If only you knew the gift God has for you and who you're speaking to, you would ask me and I would give you living water." Now the thing about this well, the well still exists today. It's not as deep as it was. It's 75 foot now. We don't know how deep it was back then. Is that it's fed by both by groundwater seeping into it and by a bubbling underground stream. And that's why the water was so fresh and clean, because it was fed by an underground stream. "Sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said, "and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you're greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well?" Jesus was probably thinking, "Yeah, I am." He didn't say it, though. I might would have said it. Jesus replied, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again." Yeah, how often do we get thirsty? I know there's some of you out here carrying around a gallon jug all day long. I know you're out here, right? We get thirsty. "Those who drink water, the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them." So just like that well has a fresh, bubbling spring within it, and everybody knew that. Jesus is saying we can have a fresh, bubbling spring within us. We can stop chasing the water in that well. We can stop chasing after things and just take that fresh spring that he gives us. Give them eternal, it becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. "Please, sir," the woman said, "give me this water, then I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water. It was a chore. She hated it. Jesus said, go get your husband. She said, I don't have a husband. Jesus said, you're right. You don't have a husband, for you've had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the one you're living with now, the man you're living with now. Certainly you spoke the truth. You see, she was looking for love in all the wrong places. There's a song about that. It's a country song. There's 2 kinds of music I like, country and western. You see, the Samaritan woman had a parched soul. Don't we get our parched soul? Don't we just want something? She was weary from the struggle of life. She had run out of hope. She had no help. She had spent her life looking for love. Maybe she had momentary happiness, new relationships, a little spark of happiness. She was living a life of serial monogamy, going from one monogamous relationship to another, and that's just not the way it should be. Living for that small spark of a new relationship, that fleeting moment of bliss and good feelings. You see that little personality in us? Looking to feel better, looking to feel loved. It'll chase the wrong things sometimes. But she just returned to drudgery. She would turn to adultery when that spark of newness wore off. She was looking for love again in all the wrong places, chasing that diminishing return of sin, only to find herself with her parched soul, alone, lonely, and looking for anything that would help her feel loved. The woman said, I know the Messiah is coming, the one who's called Christ. When he comes, he'll explain everything to us. Then Jesus told her, I am greater than Jacob. I am the Messiah. You see, the question she didn't even know she was chasing the answer for was, how do I fill my need for love so I never have to chase after love again? Jesus, the love we all so desperately need, comes to find us. You don't find it in chasing it. You find it when you let it come and find you. We spend our lives chasing it. The woman left her water jar beside the well and ran back to the village, telling everybody, come and see the man who told me everything I ever did. Could he possibly be the Messiah? So the people came streaming from the village to see him. Many Samaritans from the village believed in Jesus because the woman had said, he told me everything I did. When you finally get that dry, parched spot in your soul filled by the love that's the only love that can fill it, you can only do one thing: go and tell others about it. But notice that Jesus didn't lead with her sins. He didn't throw her sins in her face. He came at her with her deepest need, and she didn't even know what that was. Her need to feel loved. She thought she had found her own ways to get love and acceptance. She had never known anything except the cost that had to be paid for love, temporary love. He led with love. He led with love, knowing all of her sins. She was looking for love in all the wrong places. She was chasing it, but love came and found her. Jesus. We're all that woman. We're all chasing something that we don't need to chase. I am accepted and loved by Jesus, and so are you. We're all chasing after a deep need for acceptance and love. Where are you looking for your acceptance? Are you looking for acceptance in all the wrong places? Where are you looking for love? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? C.S. Lewis, amazing quote. We are half-hearted creatures fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he can't imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday by the sea. We are far too easily pleased. We stop after we chase our love and acceptance a little bit, and we find something that'll meet that need. When we need to just be patient and sit and wait for that love and acceptance to find us. Jesus, the love I need is the love you are. It's like Lance talked last week about that weighted blanket that makes us feel so good. Just reach down and pick up that blanket. The one that came to you. Cover yourself with the love and acceptance that Jesus brings to you. Stop chasing after that love and acceptance everywhere else. Let's talk about how we can leave here today with some actions that we can take. If you're not in a relationship with Jesus right now, let's go ahead and take care of that right now. We'll have a brief moment of quiet here. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, why not now? Just say it. Just say, Jesus, I'm yours. Right now. Action 2. Think about where you're chasing acceptance this week. Is it Jesus? Did you just take the acceptance he gave you? Or are you chasing it somewhere else? Think about where you're chasing love. Are you looking for love in all the wrong places or in Jesus? Are you just picking up that love that Jesus gives you? Let's go ahead and take questions. See if we have any questions come in. I think we do. How do we know if the place we look for acceptance is good? I know God's acceptance is best, but sometimes we need tangible acceptance. Well, so there are lots of good places to get love and acceptance. The way we know if it's a good place to get love and acceptance is it lines up with what the Bible tells us. So we know adultery is not the right place. We know fornication is not the right place. We know, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff is not the right place. Those are the wrong places. But I think what's most important is that you will find love and acceptance in the right area when you're doing the right areas of your life. So in a marriage, but if you're relying on the love and acceptance you get in a marriage, or even for that love in marriage to make you feel loved and accepted, you're in the wrong place looking for that. I'm not saying get out of the marriage. I'm saying if Jesus has to be where you get your foundational love and your foundational acceptance from. When you get that right, the rest of the relationships kind of fall into place and you're not chasing anymore because you get your love and acceptance from God. What does that look like? I guess I'd give the practical advice of empty yourself of the stuff you're chasing and sit and wait And don't keep filling yourself with something else. Let God come and fill that for you. It's so much better. It's just so much better than chasing it in other people and chasing it in other places. When you first get your relationship right with God and get the love and acceptance you need there, the rest of your relationships just kind of fall into place. Any other questions? Is that it? Okay. So let's go back to, we're going to do a little bit of, I hate to use the word meditation. Let's have a spiritual moment here. We're going to use that little saying that that'll be on the screen here in a second. But this is Jesus. Let's just start with who we're focused on. We're focused on Jesus. This is participation. Whisper to yourself. Say to yourself out loud. Say out loud. There's a lot of power in speaking the name of God. So we're going to practice that a little bit here. And then we're going to practice our breathing exercise this week. This should be on all your cars. We put all the Post-it notes together and they took them out there. Jesus, the love I need is the love you are. If you're struggling with finding this love, stop chasing all the other things and spend some time with this meditation. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Breathe out, breathe in. The love I need is the love you are. The love I need is the love you are. Jesus, the love I need is the love you are. The love I need is the love you are.
Would you guys stand and sing this last song with us? This is one that we introduced last week, and it talks about God being the same God yesterday, today, and forever.
I'm calling on the God of Jacob, whose love endures through generations. I know that you will keep your covenant. I'm calling on the God of Moses, the your faithfulness I'm standing on. Never changes, never changes. You heard your children, then you hear your children now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were providing then, you are providing now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You moved in power then, God move in power now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a healer then, you are a healer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a savior then, you are a savior now. You are the same God. You are the same God. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. It's your faithfulness, God. Jesus, you're the same yesterday, today, and forever. Calling on the Holy Spirit, almighty river, come and fill me again. Come and fill me. Come and fill me again.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us here this morning. If you're a guest with us, I'd love a chance to meet you. I'll be by the white counter out back. I got a gift I'd love to give you on behalf of our church. I also just want to thank you all for your generosity. It's because of your generosity we're able to do all the things that we do here and all the fun events. We got a bunch of fun events coming up. And we try and make it easy for you to partner with us financially. You can give online. You can text to give. There's black boxes in the back. You can throw checks or cash in. And again, thank you so much for generating with it, or for partnering with us financially. Also, if you'd like prayer, there's some folks that are available to my left, man. They would love to pray with you, pray for you, whatever you might need. And if you ever need prayer anytime during the week, reach out to us on social media, or you can also email us, reality.church/prayer. We love praying for you guys. Our staff gets together every Tuesday, and we pray for all the requests. So just so you know, when you send them in, they get prayed for. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.